Today I want to take out a new plugin that has been modeled like for like on a 500 series unit, which was an award winner, and it does a really interesting effect that, well, you can apply to lots of things. I want to show you two ways that we could use it. One way that I'm really quite excited for the kind of music I do, and another way that you might want to approach it in a slightly different way than what you initially think, or certainly than what I initially thought. Let's dive into it. Plugin Alliance have actually sent me this one, which is really nice, as in the past I've bought a whole dozen of Brainworks tools because I feel they make fantastic bits of kit. But as you can see at the bottom, my license says NFR, that means not for resale. But I did really enjoy it and thought I'd show you two really interesting use cases for it. Well, it's super simple, but it does a big thing. So let's check it out. First things first, let me just break down the GUI. Now I've opened it up. It does have this expert switch right here, which opens it, which has got some useful details on it we'll cover in just a sec. So we'll go from left to right, top to bottom, and we'll break it into two sections. We've got a bypass switch, if we so desire, like if you don't have a big button in Logic, but it's there. You know, bypass switch can be useful to automate without any clicks and pops if needed. So that's there for one thing. We've got a signal left and right, so it lets us know if that signal is coming in. As you can see, highlights up there. Expert, as I've shown you already, opens up that extra window. Now, range is the frequency range from all the way at the bottom to super open that it does. Think of it like a filter, but it's always starting at the low range and shoop, sweeps right up. Stage is then the effect on that range. Are we pushing it forward? Are we pulling it back? Kind of like a hysteresis on a gate, if you think about that, like the gate pushes through and then it's got a range that it can then work in. It's a similar kind of concept. That's the best analogy I can think of for you. And then we've got the bass switch right here, basically a passive EQ boost for the low end. It's very similar circuit wise to the low air on the SPL Iron, which I always use. As you know, I put the SPL Iron on like my drums bus, sometimes use it on the master bus too. That low air is just a little magic. Does add a bit of gain, but we can address that as well. And then we've got the bigness. The bigness is the stereo spread and how it's stereo spreading, pushing out effectively. Obviously you got min to max. I've settled here on about 12.5, it would seem. You'll hear the difference of what it's doing. It's basically the higher the frequency up, the more it pushes it out, the more you twist this round. We'll listen to it, that'll make more sense. We've then got a balance here. So this is a signal balance, how much is going left to right, mid to side, etc. And you can see, even when there's no signal, it's kind of fluctuating all the time. I don't know why. I'm going to feed that back. We've got our stereo balance here, so our left and right normal stereo balance like you would find on your mixer. We've got pan M, mono, so our middle signal, do we want to pan that left or pan that right, or just tilt it ever so slightly? Sides, so our left and right information, do we want to shift that all over to one side, shift it all over to another, have some cool fun effects going on there. That's something you can't do in a lot of tools anyway. There's very few reasons you would want to, but there are situations where you may be having fun, you've got a whole drum kit sitting over here and you want to put stereo imaging over here and create some nice spreading. Opportunity is now there for you. Have a little bit of a play with that. We've then got mono maker, so again similar to Iron, taking the low frequency, boom, summon it to mono, making sure we've not done some stereo waving and they're cancelling out and we get in that wobbly, phasey horribleness. I've pushed this up to about 130 on this. I am using it on the bass track in this example, which would make sense of why I've done that, right? We've then got a correlation meter, so whether we're phase cancelling or not. And then our metering left, right, mid, side, and then left, right on the out. Lastly, we've got our output gain and this wonderful little knob here, which is an auto output. So this has gained me back around 2.5 dB based on that low bass switch being on. It added about 2.5, nearly 3 dB of gain. Using that auto control, pulled it back for me. I'll show you how it works in just a sec. So let's have a little listen to what is going on. This is just a whip track that I wanted to try this tool out on. Did something nice on the bass, so here we are. So the bass line's this big ripping low moog type thing in the bottom here. Now I'm going to take the SPL Big off. Now it's not like my other bass is bad, what's there, but what Big's doing is just nice and exciting on the ear. Ready? And it's at the same gain, which is really important. It's not suddenly like 3 dB louder. So I was really impressed with that, and I promised I'd show you how the auto gain works real quick. So let's just very quickly, I'll reset that back to 0. This might clip my track, so there's a limiter on there just to catch that, just in case, since we are recording and I don't want to blow your ears out as well as my own. So we're playing back, you can hear that's gained up quite a bit. We can hit the auto gain, it reads the audio over a few seconds. Boom, and it's dialed it back that same amount. And when I tested this, oh, it did clip by 0.2. When I tested this, it's 0.1 of a dB out, as in it didn't correct it by 0.1 of a dB, so that fraction louder. You as a human can't detect that. It's about half a dB before you're going to register it in a good set of headphones. So I will take that, super useful. And what it's doing is just super interesting. Let's just listen to the bass in isolation now and set it up and have a listen to as we go through it. And then we're going to try it out on some vocals. So bass in isolation with Big on. Let's dial this all the way back. This back to here and this down to here. So if we switch this off now, loads of pops and clicks coming from the Moog emulation, but it's cool. It works nice in context. Switch it on, there's no real difference, okay? Now if we pump up the max here, nothing really happens. It's dependent on us setting these range stages first. As we open that up, not all too much happens. And not all too much happens there either. Everything working in together is where it comes in. So in my testing and playing around with this, what I've actually found is it's a nicer idea to put this to like 10 and then find where it's kind of sounding nice, like where it's really giving you what you want out of this, and then dial in the max in, right? Because you need some of the bigness there before these give you any context. So setting these and then dialing in, yeah, it doesn't work in my opinion. I don't know why it's laid out that way, but here, crank the bigness up, then dial these in, and then go back to bigness and find what you like there. So I ended up with something similar to that. That's for me, that's quite exciting. Let's just have a look at these in context as well while we're listening to this. So stereo balance does exactly what it says on the tin, throws everything. If we hold option and click, it will reset it. So mono, let's put mono all the way to the left. So there's our mono signal with our stereo now sitting in the center. Let's put our stereo off to the right. We get some really kind of crazy spread. So I've got a gain plug in here. If I do this, we're losing most of our signal, aren't we? Now, important to note that when everything's centered and we've got the mono maker on, the spread that's going on here doesn't really cause any issues. In fact, when we put a phase cancellation on using the gain tool here, we basically just get our original signal back. I'm just going to disable gain. If we disable it, that was our original signal. Important to look at the levels. So with mono on, yeah, we're at about the same level. We basically end up with our original signal, but again, that was stereo and it's being crushed into the middle because it's mono. So it's really nice to know that all the correlation, everything's just there for us, even though we're crammed over here at +1. So that's me trying out the kind of thing that I would do, using it on a bass line in this instance, making that really quite tasty. Let's test it out on vocals in a already finished track. I'm going to open up one of my old tunes and see what we can do. Most of this project doesn't seem to work anymore because I don't use an iLock anymore, and yeah, a bunch of the plugins don't work, is what it is. However, it still sounds okay, despite the fact 2 of my plugins on the vocal bus don't work. Let's see if we can fix that using the new SPL Big. Here's SPL Big on the vocal bus. Let's dial that in. Alright, so dialing it in on these vocals for the first time, I don't like what it's doing on this bus, but I think this could work nice as an auxiliary. So let's listen to what it's doing and why I wouldn't use it in this way for sure. So this is with Big on. If I turn it off, here's some context. That's where the vocal was. And that's without processing, please bear in mind. That was fun, so my mouse just completely disconnected from my computer. Anyways, now what it's doing is less than the desirable for sure. Now you can see it's reflected in balance as well. We could adjust that. Something like that, right? But it's for sure struggling and not ideal. Now I haven't even auto gained it. That gives us an indication. Even if we start to push that stereo balance, it's not ideal. Now, however, using this as an auxiliary could well be a shout. Now I have something here called Vox Room. So instead of having it sit on the vocal itself, let's try it out in the vocal room with the same sort of settings that we dialed in right here. So we'll mute it. So there's our vocal, again, with no plugins. And there's using Big on a bus. Now to me it sounds a little thin. That's quite nice there though. I'd maybe pull the output back manually a bit here. So. So that's kind of cool, using it on a bus. And some extra spread and width to it. Our correlation's way down, but it's not directly on that piece of audio. So let's put a gain on the bus and see, by having it there, do we just lose our whole vocal? And no, everything's still central, it's nice and still there. A-B it in mono. Doesn't really seem to do anything. It gives us that extra spread and a bit of sheen there on the auxiliary, which is a nice way of using it. Now I thought using it directly on the vocal would be a good shout, but definitely not. But as an auxiliary tool, yeah, pretty interesting. Overall, think very useful tool. For me, I like what I can do with the bass there and really make it like grit and shine and automate that as well. So I can have it be the dull, gritty bass line and in their key moments, crank that up and kind of really open it up for a hook. It's going to be something that I really play around with, which is great for such a simple tool. Now we were just looking at a track here of mine from 2016, and this track was distributed with the sponsor of today's video all the way back then, which is DistroKid. They let me get my music out to all of the major distributors, and they do that at a price an independent artist can easily afford. If you're ready to get your music or beats out there and want to release an unlimited amount of music each year, check the link in the description below for a discount off of your first year of unlimited distribution with DistroKid.